we get into the presentation, I wanted to sort of introduce myself. So as you'll see, I am an entrepreneur. I am the CEO of Creation Publishing Group, which is a company that develops programs and products targeted specifically to empowering men to reach their full potential. And so these are just titles. I'm a husband, I'm a father, and all of that. But I want to go a little bit deeper, share a little bit about Michael Taylor. You see, I was born in the inner city projects of Corpus Christi, Texas, to a single mother with 6 kids, and to say we were poor would be an understatement. But what we lacked in money, we had in motivation, because my mom was my inspiration. Because at a very early age, my mother told me that no matter what I wanted, if I wanted it badly enough, no one could keep me from getting it except me. So there I am, 10 years old, and I've got my mom telling me, whatever you want to do, you can do it. But here's the key. She said, you got to use your brain, boy. She said, because you got a good brain. And that was her word. She said, you got a good brain. You got to use your brain. And so as a kid, I thought, okay, well, that's what I need to do. I got to use my brain. So at a very early age, I started reading books. Lots and lots of books. And so that inspiration, although my mother gave me great guidance, you know, like most of us, I made some bad choices in my life too. At a very early age, like some of you, we made bad choices, and one choice I made caused me to be incarcerated for a short period of time. But it was just a choice. Another bad choice that I made was when I was in the 11th grade, I decided to drop out of high school. Now, why would I want to drop out of high school? Bad choice, right? Well, I went to a seminar once, and there was this guy selling vacuum cleaners. And he convinced me that I could get rich selling vacuum cleaners. So I dropped out of high school to go sell vacuum cleaners. So how many vacuum cleaners do you think I sold? Never sold a vacuum cleaner. But I also made some very good choices in my life. Again, we've all made bad choices, but I made some good choices. And the most important choice that I made was that I was going to be successful. It was a conscious decision that I was going to live an extraordinary life. I made that decision. And as a result of that decision, what I did was I started working really hard, because at 18, I got a job with a building supply center. And by the time I was 21, I was the youngest manager in the history of this company. And so by the age of 23, I was living the American dream. I had the house, the wife, the 2.5 kids, and all of that. As we would say, I had it going on, right? But within about 6 years, I watched that dream turn into a nightmare as I went through a divorce, bankruptcy, foreclosure, lost it all, lost everything. So there I am, bankrupt and alone and deeply depressed. Deeply depressed, trying to figure out what had happened. Because I had played by society's rules. I had did everything they said I was supposed to do as a man to be successful, but yet my life was in total chaos. So what was I going to do? So late one night, probably the darkest period of my life, as a matter of fact, I remember sitting up and I was contemplating suicide. That's how bad it was. But then I received a miracle. And this miracle came to me in the form of a question. Because as I sat there, I was looking across my room, and I noticed on my bookshelf that all of the books had something to do with making money and getting rich. And as I looked at those books, this question just popped in my head. And it was this: Michael, what if you took all the energy and effort you've used in trying to get rich and simply learn how to be happy? Now, as simplistic as that question sounds, it literally changed my life in an instant. Because as a result of asking myself that one question, my depression disappeared like that, because now I had a new goal and a new focus. And that new goal was to simply learn how to be happy again. Because I remembered what it felt like to be happy. How many of you remember when you were kids and you were just playful and life was fun? You remember that time? Well, see, I remembered what that felt like, so I wanted to bring that back. So instead of reading books on getting rich and making money, I started reading books on psychology and philosophy and metaphysics and spirituality and personal development. I became committed to being happy. It became the driving force of my life. I just wanted to be happy again. I didn't care if I never made a dime. I just wanted to be happy again. And so I got to tell you, that question began what I'll call my journey of transformation. That one question. Because for the first time, I had to stop looking outside of me. And I had to look within to figure out what it was about Michael Taylor that needed to be transformed. And so, 20 years, trust me, it wasn't easy. How many of you have ever heard the saying that if it doesn't kill you, it can only make you stronger? You ever hear that? Well, in my case, that's absolutely true. Because I got to tell you, it was painful. I was homeless for 2 years, living in cars, relying on friends to eat. 2 years. Couldn't find a job. One reason I couldn't find a job, why? On that application, have you ever been convicted? And what do I have to write if I'm going to tell the truth? I had to tell the truth. For 2 years, I couldn't find a job. And I'm talking, I was trying to work at McDonald's. I didn't care. I just needed a job. But for 2 years, I couldn't find a job. But remember my commitment? I just wanted to be happy. I kept that commitment. And so now, some 20 years later, I got to tell you, I'm living a dream because I'm doing exactly what I love to do. I found my passion and purpose in life. And I can also say that all that pain that I experienced back then, I wouldn't change a thing if I had to do it all over again. Because all that pain and suffering shaped me to become the man that I am today. So I wouldn't change a thing. Was it easy? Probably the most difficult thing I've ever had to do. And probably the most difficult thing that you will have to do is to begin your own journey of transformation. And I'm going to share some tips on how to do that today.